Hi everyone, this is Tammy, your host and the owner of Worthyworthitpriceless, and today's podcast is titled Love Yourself. Before I start the podcast, let me start. I'm sorry for my absence. I actually had to get a tooth pulled last week, and it should have been like a routine type of tooth pull, but what ended up happening was it wasn't. Long story short, and my mouth has been swollen for about a week, and I have stitches in my cheek. So that's basically where I've been. I wish I was able to actually write that somewhere, but either way. The title of today's podcast, like I said, is Love Yourself. And it seems pretty basic, or standard. Like, oh yeah, love yourself. But if you start out on the wrong track, you won't basically know how to love yourself. And what I mean is the story I'm about to tell you. When I was focused on a mission since I was 5. And my focus was to find my husband at 5. And it started even like before I even went to school. I don't know where it came from. I know my parents were married and I used to watch Disney things. So it's like so many excuses I could possibly use. I don't know. I just knew that when I was 5, I wanted to find my husband. And so my dad, he gave me a whole little prep talk before school. And he was like, don't do this, don't do that. And he was like, and don't come home with no boyfriends. And I laughed. And he was like, I'm serious. Don't come home with no boyfriend. I'm like, okay. But that was actually my goal. And with that goal, I was just dead set on finding a boyfriend and my plan was to find my boyfriend in kindergarten. And then we would go together for the rest of our lives. And then once we got out of school, then we would get married. That was my plan. And I was focused and content on that plan. And it actually came in. I really didn't realize how focused I was on that, or just that whole point, until recently. So for 31 years, I was looking for a husband. And what I failed to realize was that I failed to get the fundamentals of actually loving myself. I was looking for someone to fill a void that I don't even know if I ever actually even had a void. I was 5 years old. I didn't know any better. But I was looking for someone to do something that I should have been able to do within myself, or at least learn how to do myself, if that makes sense. And it started me on a path of basically being in the wrong relationships, liking people who really didn't like me back, or didn't have those feelings or whatever. So let me just go through it. So like I said, I was looking for a boyfriend at 5. And so I wasn't like the most popular, prettiest girl or whatever. So when guys did just say, if they said hi or something like that, I thought they liked me, because most guys didn't really speak to me or stuff like that. And so I was thinking that almost like every guy that said hi to me or was nice to me actually liked me, and like, oh, I can marry him, or I can marry him. And it's funny now, but it's like, it's, So, but basically it was heartbreaking, because a lot of times people play with your mind, and they play, or some people are just being nice. They're not trying to date you. They just want to be nice. But like I said, if you're not the most popular or whatever, and people don't really acknowledge you, so as soon as somebody says hi to you, like, oh my gosh, like, oh my God, you like me. And it's like, it's not really like that. And what it ended up doing was, all of a sudden, I started either dating the wrong person or liking the wrong person and then only to get my heart broken over and over again. And then you start thinking that there's something wrong with you, and then it starts messing with your self-esteem, and then it definitely messes with your self-worth. And you start thinking like, man, why doesn't anybody want me? Why won't anyone really just want to be with me? Like, I'm a really cool person. Like, you know what I mean? That's what you start thinking, like, man, I'm a really cool person. Like, what is going on? And it may not have anything to do with you, but it is something that you really have to dig deep in within yourself. I recently, almost 3 years ago, just got out of a 15-year relationship, back and forth. It wasn't like all together, but either way, it was a back and forth type of thing. And I never really had a chance to, actually I did have chances to think, but not like this last breakup. And during this time, I'm like, man, you realize how long you are really on a roller coaster. You're on a roller coaster, and you're like, if you're not with that person, you're trying to be with that person, and then you might get over the person, and the person comes back, and then it's like, oh my goodness, and you try to move on to somebody else. And it's like I said, it was just like a roller coaster, and I never really had a chance to really think. And even if I did have a chance to think, I wasn't thinking about that, or at least myself. And by the grace of God, this last time, I can just realize that God has been cleaning me off and making me a brand new person. And I've had a chance to think and actually be a mom to my daughter and everything like that. And during that time, I realized, like, did I really love myself? Did I really do what I had to do for myself? I'm not blaming anybody for anything, because like I stated, I was on a mission since I was 5 to find a husband. And I wish that, I mean, no one knew that I was on a mission to find a husband, put it that way. And I wish almost that somebody knew that I was on that mission, and they would have been, and they possibly could have said, you know, you need to love yourself first. And if I wasn't so focused on that, because like once I'm focused on something, like I'm super focused on it. And I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I learned the lesson when I learned the lesson, put it that way. And I'm the youngest that I'll ever learn this lesson, if that makes sense. So, but at the end of the day, it is a lesson that really needs to be learned. And I believe that other girls should know that as well, and other men should know that as well. It's not so much that you need to be with somebody else. You need to learn how to love yourself, no matter what. Because people will come and go. People will break your heart. People will change, and you will change. And you might outgrow some people that you thought that you've always would love. And one day you're like, ooh, I don't really like you as much as I thought I did. Or I don't really love you as much as I once thought. And you come into a whole new realization of life. But you have to give yourself time within relationships, or even after relationships. So I think the biggest issue that I've seen is that people will date someone, break up, date somebody else immediately, then bring all that baggage from the past relationship into the new relationship, and then wondering why that relationship is tarnished, because at the end of the day, you didn't give yourself a chance. I knew that once this past relationship was done, I knew that I had to detox, and I had to spend time with myself. And in spending time with myself, I am just now getting to the point of realizing that I really need to start loving myself, or I'm really getting into the point of really starting to love myself. Imagine being on a quest or a journey for like 31 years. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh goodness. Like, and you see the trail of mess and just basically just mess that you have either placed on yourself or even gotten yourself into or gotten yourself out of. It was just a lot. So anyway, long story short, what I want to encourage all of you guys to do is just to start loving yourself, or even actually asking yourself, do you actually love yourself? And if you have a child, instill in them when the time is right for you to love themselves, and not to start being so focused or boy crazy or girl crazy on being with someone. Because I see how society is going, and it's so much either sexualized, or we have to be with somebody or we can't function. And I'm not saying that we're not supposed to be with someone else, but at least try to get to know yourself first, so you're not tarnishing someone else's, or you're not breaking somebody's heart. Because how the saying goes is hurt people hurt people. And you imagine how many hurt people have either been in your life, or how you have hurt someone else because you haven't gotten over the hurt that somebody else has given you. So take out the time in your life to learn yourself, love yourself, know more about yourself, have fun, and don't be in a rush to be in a relationship. Do not be in a rush to have a child. Do not be in a rush to do any of that. Learn about yourself first, because once you do, only that person, they could just add on to your life. They'll just be a bonus, because you'll know that you are special and kind just by yourself. Like you will enjoy your own company. If you don't enjoy your own company, how could you expect someone else to enjoy your company? So yes, that's the encouragement for today. I hope that it has inspired you and maybe encouraged you to either love yourself, or at least share it with someone else and let them know that they are loved and they are appreciated. So, because you never know who needs to hear that stuff as well. And let them know that they are valuable, because we live in a time now that people is just so depressed. It's like a depressing type of thing in life right now, and you never know what someone else is going through. So with that being said, just know that no matter what, you are worthy, worth it, and priceless, and you will make it. Bye.